finance, climate, clean energy, defense, equity, nature. Sometimes a single day of headlines reveals a blueprint of where a nation and the world is headed. Let's trace 6 stories that show how India is thinking big, acting bold, and planning smart. We begin with India's rising focus on sustainable capitalism. A parliamentary standing committee has called for a legal framework to strengthen environmental, social, and governance accountability in business. Though ESG isn't directly mentioned in the Companies Act 2013, it's present through clauses like energy conservation, the POSH Act, Maternity Benefit Act, and CSR obligations. Key risks include greenwashing, inconsistent application, and the burden on small businesses. The committee suggests a dedicated ESG oversight body under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, amending the Companies Act to give ESG legal clarity, creating independent ESG committees like audit committees, sector-specific guidelines for MSMEs, and an ESG chapter in the ministry's annual report from FY 2025 to 26. But if business needs green ethics, transport needs green energy. And that's where India's electric mobility mission gets charged up. Niti Aayog has released a game-changing report, the $200 billion electric vehicle opportunity, along with the India Electric Mobility Index. The report highlights real bottlenecks: lack of financing, especially for e-buses and e-trucks, charging stations underutilized and poorly distributed, weak awareness about EV performance, and data gaps affecting decisions. The focus moved from incentive to mandates, set zero-emission deadlines, disincentivize combustion engines, expand CAFE norms, corporate average fuel efficiency, offer low-interest loans, promote battery leasing, electrify entire cities before scaling, scale up R&D and empower private charge point operators. The India Electric Mobility Index, made with World Resources Institute India, scores states on transport electrification 50% weight, charging infrastructure 30%, EV innovation 20%. And as India gears up for cleaner roads, the financial capital is becoming a launch pad for global finance. In Gandhinagar, GIFT City IFSC, India's first and only international financial services center, is rising fast. Established in 2015 as an SEZ, GIFT IFSC allows onshore and offshore financial services in foreign currency. It offers a favorable tax regime, a regulatory sandbox, and smooth inbound-outbound investment flows. India's financial gateway is overseen by IFSCA, a dedicated authority created under the IFSCA Act 2019. GIFT IFSC has climbed to 46th in the Global Financial Centers Index and 45th in FinTech rankings, with further expansion planned in major metros modeled on China's multi-hub financial zones. And while capital flows grow from Gujarat, India's defense research is lighting up from Tamil Nadu, pushing innovation from labs to the battlefield. India's defense forces now have a new think tank, AGNISHODH, a cutting-edge research center jointly launched by IIT Madras and the Indian Army. It focuses on converting lab-scale innovations into battlefield-ready technologies aligned with the 5 pillars: technology absorption, structural reforms, human resource development, service integration, modernization of tactics and systems. Global military spending hit $2.7 trillion in 2024. India's need for non-kinetic warfare like cyber, space, and AI was highlighted during recent tension with Pakistan. Key government programs include IDEX and its sub-scheme Aditi for startups, Srijan for making India defense production, liberalized FDI in defense up to 74%, and a declared year of reforms in 2025. In 2023 to 24, India hits 1.27 lakh crore in defense production and 21,083 crore in exports, exporting to 100 plus countries. And while security is strengthened by policy, it's also enforced by law, especially when it comes to environmental crimes. In a landmark ruling, the Supreme Court has declared the pollution control boards have the legal right to impose environmental compensation even without court orders. In Delhi Pollution Control Committee versus Lodhi Property Co. Limited, the Supreme Court overturned the Delhi High Court's ruling and upheld power under Section 33A of the Water Act 1974, Section 31A of the Air Act 1981. The court invoked the polluter pays principle already upheld in Indian Council for Enviro Legal Action versus UOI, Vellore Citizen Welfare Forum versus UOI 1996. Now PCBs can enforce penalties for proven harm, immediate restoration orders, and even preventive action before damage is done. And while courts protect the environment with law, deep in the forest of Nagaland, a gentle giant is being protected with care. The critically endangered Asian giant tortoise is back, reintroduced into the Xiliang Community Reserve in Nagaland. It's the largest tortoise in mainland Asia and the only species that nests above ground. It lives in the tropical mountain forests of India, Bangladesh, Brunei, Myanmar, and others, but faces severe threats from habitat destruction and illegal hunting. It's listed as critically endangered by IUCN and in Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. More than just a comeback story, this reintroduction is a signal that protecting species also protects ecosystems, communities, and the planet. In one day, we saw ESG move towards law, e-mobility take shape, financial gateways rise, defense research deepen, green justice upheld, and a majestic tortoise returned home. Finance, mobility, security, environment, biodiversity. 6 separate stories, one future. You're watching Now and Know, where current affairs become a connected story.